With Zoom. I might go back to it. All right, let me see if I can pull up screen. Oh, let's try this. It's just hooking up now. Nobody's in yet.
Okay, good.
Let's try this. Okay. All right. Let me try this. And here. Share sound. Share. Okay, there's Tim. Can you see Tim? His message. All right, so I'm going to take this and all right, we got 13, 14, 22, 32, 51 people in the house. We're going to go ahead and get started with our beautiful, beloved, brave sister from Sedona, Shekina Rose, my dear sister. We've collaborated many times in person and online. We even had the rose ray come in through the window on camera. That
Yes.
was amazing. This is it okay to share this? Is it all right?
Yes, you can, because this is very special.
Okay, so I'm sorry about the what's on the screen at the time,
Okay.
but I'm just playing this audio, audio recording of a collaboration that Shekina and Tim, her beloved, did. This is what the third energy is all about, and so it's very beautiful. It's 4 minutes. We'll listen to this, and then we're gonna have Shekina join us, and we're gonna catch up and talk about what's been happening. Talk about Sedona and end of May and whatever else comes up. We'll be right back. holy shiitake mushrooms. I mean, that's a new music genre. That right there is a new music genre. And I remember the three or four, five, six, God, time's been flying. 5, 6 years ago, I remember seeing like that type of thing that would occur in the field where there would be mixes done of new frequencies or frequencies that hadn't been mixed in our journey. So that was like, I think that's my favorite Shekina Rose expression. So to date, and you've done some amazing stuff.
Wow. Thank you.
Mm.
No, it happens too. It's like when the collaboration happens, and this is different. This is different kind of music. This is transmission music. And so I sing that one time, and that came from them when I transmitted it. And then, now, Tim is assisting me with music. And Tim they took him up. His guides had to take him up. This is how he puts it, right? Up to the higher place, the
uh,
dimension.
uh,
And they literally started clicking around his ears, and they said, we're attuning you to this frequency so that you can uh, do the music with Shekina, so that you'll be attuned into that vibration, because it's normally not done this way. This
yeah,
is backwards.
yeah,
Music is normally done. You don't just sing a transmission one time
yeah.
and have a whole ensemble then do the music for you. But because it has to carry the frequency.
Yeah. I
And
think,
as
yeah,
you know, come together we come together for love, but we've come together for this mission.
yeah. It's all one and the same.
Exactly. It
Like, yeah,
has to be. We have to be in alignment with each other for this to happen. For
absolutely.
these kind of things to happen, for us
Yeah.
to collaborate in this way. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you see it in artistic collaborations. I mean, I've been a part of. If you were at Posse Park last time we were in Sedona, so there was another instance of a spontaneous transmission. What's incredible about it is everybody's doing it. Like Ty was doing it. Whoever else was accompanying you was doing it. I mean, I know I had an amazing time when we started that show that night. I had no idea. And then there's just something that happens. It's like everybody's just, I don't know how to explain it. You're almost like in a um, meditative state, no chatter, right?
It was beautiful, and it was all spontaneous. We
Hmm.
just we barely got there. We were on the water all day at the creek, and I mean I was in my swimming suit up on stage. Had a little cover on there.
That's why everybody was cheering so loud.
I don't. Well, I had a little vest on, and but it was the moment was beautiful. We had this connection that we had to leave immediately, and when we pulled in, it was like you guys were right there. It was this
Mhm.
beautiful synchronistic
Yeah, yeah,
flow. You were right there. We connected, and when I got up there, it was like amazing, Todd. I don't think I've ever got on stage like that. It the sacred space was so held and was
yeah,
so gorgeous and so beautiful. And normally if I go up there, and whoever I'm going up there, with Kimberly, or different people, or myself, it's like I almost feel like we have to create the sacred space and the energy, for us tuning in. And it was so there that I just stepped into this beautiful frequency, and it so supported me that that's what happened. It was just this gorgeous thing when the foundation and the support was so there, because they had been singing and singing and doing this beautiful thing all the singing they had done, and all the music and all the collaboration, could you smell the and the sage? They kept burning the
Hmm.
sage. You
Yeah.
could feel this, the
Yeah.
sage was burning and all the things, and it was and
It
the
was
wind.
amazing.
You remember the wind? How beautiful
Yes.
the,
You
the
can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is what we've always done. I mean, I was talking to Kalina today, our friend, and your friend, everybody's friend. And I was just reminiscing about that soul, what do we call it? A soul gathering in the community center at Sedona. And so it was you gifted us the space, and it was on very short notice. And I've probably done about 7 or 8 of these to from like 30, 40 people to 80 or 90 people, and it's always worked. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to get up and give a testimony for the first time and step out. I've seen that happen several times. You never know when you're going to have harmonic light language by Shekina Rose freestyling with Romeo Barron and his whatever that beautiful stuff he does is. I mean, and then a lady gets up from the audience and starts light languaging with y'all. So you never know what's going to happen. But to me, when there's the more frequencies, the better it can be, right?
Mhm.
Like with Jade and Ty back there with the flute and the keyboard and the gongs and the drums and the rattles, and then whoever else they have accompany them, you walk into a space and it's perfect to do what you did and what you do.
Thank you for inviting me up there to be a part of that. It was so
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to Sedona because the Soulogy Fest will have, I don't know, I don't remember the exact, but I'd say 14 hours of open mic free flow like that. It will be
Wow.
everything from me walking to the crowd or whoever the other MCs
Mhm.
might be, Scott Ware, uh, talking to people in the crowd like we do in the show. Um, anyone bring their instrument? Anybody want to share anything? Anybody want to have a poem or whatever? Just I think there's something to that exemplifies what we're actually doing because
Mhm.
we've spent so much time out there. We spent reluctantly time down here, and it's like everything's coming down to these moments where we collaborate and share. Hmm. It's been a long road, hasn't it, Shekina Rose?
Yeah, it has. I I don't know when I've been on your show because I kind of used to be on your show a little bit more frequently, and I'm definitely having that ascension amnesia, and it's
Yeah, I
it's a
know.
it's a real thing.
I think the
It's a
last time was about 3 months ago, but
I think it was like I felt like it was a year almost.
oh no, 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 no.
That's, it was a long time. I don't think I got on during the COVID time,
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
and
you're probably right.
so
It was March of no, I'm sorry, May of 20, no, March, right
I
before.
don't know if it was last year or I
Yeah,
mean I know that I saw
yeah,
you because I had to take a step back. I think I mentioned that I had just to take a step back
yeah,
and just like really, pull in the energies. And we were kind of all talking about that when we all kind of came together when we went to dinner. Uh,
mm-hmm.
Morgan and I spontaneously we were kind of talking about the energies that were so huge and transformative, and we were all saying the same thing. We were almost afraid to say it, like we felt like we were dying, and
Yeah,
we didn't. Um, but so much shifting and changing and just tuning in. Like I had to tune back out from all the energy. Because remember remember last. It was a very intense time.
yeah,
There was an election I think that happened. I
yeah.
mean,
It happened right after. Yeah,
so much that happened that was so intense, and um, I pulled back and tuned in to where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And mostly with the Devic intelligence. Devic intelligence helps me to know what truth is, and can really be my guide as to what's going on out there. So yeah, and where we're at now, like where
Yeah.
we're at now, I feel like I just woke up, Todd, to and I really feel this way. I was telling it to Kimberly, some other people. I was like, I feel like the whole world is just like shifted.
Yeah.
Coming
When
into
did when did you when did that when did you know that for sure? Like when did you feel like, wow, it's something's definitely changed?
very current, very current.
Yeah.
It's been very current where it just, I'm so sensory, and I'm always reading the energies, but this is what I feel. But it's just recently where I feel, and I've said it to Tim, I've said it to Kimberly. I said, I feel like the whole world is like shifted, and all of a sudden, like I'm here. Now, now what I'm realizing is that I have shifted with it, but maybe I've shifted with it a little bit differently, because I'm not knowing what's going on out there. And sometimes it'll startle me when I find out what's going on out there, right?
Hmm.
However, I'm experiencing it on this level, like 5G and 5D. I
Hmm.
realized I've known this for a while, just as I've realized about the internet, what the internet was to me, what I feel the internet is. The outer expression of our true unity that we created outside of ourselves, because that's who we really are. And what I realized is, you know, 5G, like we're 5G now. And I just realized that the other day, because I don't get, information from other places, but something came up on the screen when I was out, and of this map of 5G, and it was pink. And then I realized, I've always realized that 5G is 5D. This is what this means. So again, when the internet is out and we want all this connection, it means that's the outer reflection of our unity connection that we haven't quite been able to do, you know, through all of our telepathy and through all of our connections, how we used to. We were able to do it. Lemuria was pretty, a time where it was pretty natural. We also did it in Atlantis a little bit differently. So what I realized is like, wow, okay, we're in 5G because we're in 5D. And what does that mean? It, we're in five-dimensional resonancy consciousness because we're in 5G. 5G, I went to see, I'm like, okay, what is this? Because I know whatever that is means that spiritually we're in 5 dimension. So it means we have a broader coverage now.
Right.
So we dimensionally have this broader coverage. We have a greater expansion. We have a powerful network,
Yeah.
massive access to information. And then we're talking about 5D. Everything that they say about 5G is what they mean about what happening to us. And I've been experiencing that. So that means that, like the other day, I was able to read the energy, but on like this broader scale, like everything was giving me the information.
Hmm.
Not only my sensory awareness, because I've always been very sensory and very clear sentient and clairaudient, but I was experiencing that. I was experiencing the emotion. I was seeing the animals. I was experiencing the wind. I was experiencing the animals at the same time. They were Everything was speaking to me about a message all at the same time. I had the ravens come right to my window. They were speaking to me. Everything was speaking to me all at the same time. It's like a broader band coverage.
Hmm.
That's what it translates. That's what I really feel this is about.
Is
Uh,
this recent? Is this recent too? Like you were talking
Very
about?
recent.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too is the us our access. Now I've petitioned. There's certain things that I petitioned for because I feel we need greater access.
Yeah.
Okay, we need greater access. So we have greater access. we're in the 5-dimensional consciousness. We're not full on yet because 5G isn't full on yet. Because that's what we want. We want connection.
Yeah.
And that's what 5G is.
Yeah.
We want lightning speed. We want to connect out to the networks. The other day, heaven came in, and it was a little startling because the other realms are going to be more available to us now.
Right.
See, because we need to be closer to heaven. All of these things have been way too far from us. Now they're becoming closer. We need them to become closer. Heaven has to become closer. The light has to become closer. Yesterday, this energy came over me, and it was my grandma. And all of a sudden, she showed me where I was. I totally had no recollection prior to this of where I was when she used to live with us a long time ago. I was completely there, and she started laughing. We started talking. It was like the heavens gates was open from heaven. She started communicating with me, showing me things that had happened down here. Then all the other ones started coming in. Then my other grandma pipes in. It was like this whole open door happened. Other people had crossed over. They just all started coming in. They started communicating with me. It was like this portal was open. Very clear communication, the things that they were, sharing with me and what she was showing me. And what I got was, okay, I get it. We're into this, because what do we mean about 5D? I feel like we've been talking about it for a long time, like 5D. And why in the world are we talking about 5D? Why 5D? Because because in the world, we got 5G. We want more connection. We want more expansion. We want to have more connection, because that's what we really want. That's what I feel is that. What do we really want? I mean, what do we really want? We want to be connected.
Yeah.
We want to be connected to our higher self. We want to be connected to each other. We want to know love. We want to know God's love within us. That's 5D too. A higher frequency of God connection. That's what I feel. That's what I'm going through. Also is I brought in, a sacred technology, another sacred technology that helps to assist, because we're all about technology. If they're doing technology in 3D world at a certain level, then that means our ability and capacity for the sacred technology is stronger and on. And so I pulled in, it took me a while, like almost a year, but I pulled in the universal frequency harmonizer pendants, a sacred technology as well. And of course the music, being in tune with the angelics and the devas, the devic intelligence, bringing that in. That song you heard, I mean, literally, that is from them. They sing that song through me, the Devics. Like the Devics are like angels, pure beings, angelics. And the Devics can also, I love how they can merge, like they can merge with Sophia, especially Sophia, sacred, divine feminine energy. They can merge and they can sing, sing in the codes and information about who we are. And so that's song is about, it's unveiled love, but it's 5D love. It's about who we are. It's like, see me, I'm you.
Right.
Here.
Right. Yeah, I love what you said about the 5D, because there's always that paradox, right? Like all the stuff that was said about 5G or has been said about 5G or whatever, there's always another side to it. And I love your explanation, because things are produced also in the energetic field and then in the physical. So it is, to me, like symbolic of the expansion. Whether or not somebody had something ill-intended or not, it's not the point. The point is it's been created. So it's been added to the collective consciousness. We can utilize and tap into anything, we know that. So it makes sense that the things more local to us would be easier. That's how it's been going. But the other thing that it makes me think about too is has been coming up on the show and in my experiences. You mentioned ascension, whatever, what is it?
Amnesia.
Amnesia. And of course, we've been talking about that for 2 or 3 years, and also how time has been getting weird, right? Like people talking about how they can't schedule anything. You had last year with the corona and the quarantine where people weren't going to work 8 to 5. So time's like doing something. It's not the same presence it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So in the last week or so, just come up in my own experience and in the show with a couple of conversations, space. So if the fourth dimension is time and space, and these are constructs that don't exist in the fifth dimension and above, it's part of the construct of the 3D. So space starts to disappear and have less of a presence. And I think what you're explaining is actually the is symptomatic of this transition that we're in, because that's what's happening. I mean, I in 2015, 16, half of 17, had a relationship with Morgan, and we a huge part of our relationship was the energetic foundation that was achieved in a great part through Helioscamas, through conscious merging of the soul, through bilocation, you know, and so that was what 4 or 5 years ago. The consciousness has expanded so much now that I don't know if it's going to be by force or flow, if the internet's going to go out, or but our connections are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
There's too many people doing effective Reiki healing, and even messages we send each other and images and songs and whatever we share. That's Reiki energy. That's what you're talking about. That's the song you just did, which is divine love, right? Which is, you think of divine love and you think of fluffy, not fluffy in a bad way, but just like pure white light. And it's so much goes with that, such as the Kali energy, right? Like you can't get the mother goddess without the Kali energy, right? I mean, there's something about this energy that's been impacting us that you're talking about both last year and in the last few weeks that is cleaning house.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Like you said, it's, I wrote about ascension amnesia and how as we're hitting these higher dimensions, that's what happens. It cleans house. And I think, and it hits you in different ways. It's either going to bring you closer to the heart,
Hmm.
to each other, to what's true, or it's going to kind of shift you in this other way because
Yeah.
you're going to be able to go into that. I mean, we're all seeing, it's so interesting how I see things or how I experience things is, so it looks as though that we've had a greater separation, and that everything is, because, and that's what it looks like, and everything is pushing us towards actual the understanding of our unity,
Mm-hmm.
because that's really what truth is. I mean, we're only separate down here,
Right.
and and we want to get to that place. We want, humans, we want to feel connected, and so that energy is being forced in, I believe, in our face, so that we can see what it really is, not to stay there. However, everybody has their choice, and that's what's so beautiful down here, is we all have our choices.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really honoring of everyone's choices. And I don't really even care if it's totally not my way. I don't care about that. All I care about is that everything gets honored, right?
Right.
We can continue on to be who we are,
Yeah.
and that space can be honored just as this space over here. It's got to be both spaces for
That's
me.
right.
Spaces have to be honored, and
That's
I
right.
I see it, right, and it's because it's all about frequency, and it's also always it's about the choice of your frequency. And this is the choice of the frequency that people are doing over here, and so they're all connecting into this particular energy, and they're all working together. And us over here, this is a frequency. We're all working in this frequency, and everything, and I see everything flowing too. About when was it? I think it's probably been maybe a couple months now. There was this breakthrough energy that happened because the beginning of the year happened, and it didn't just expand immediately. It took a
Mm-mm.
couple months, and then after a couple of months, then wow, everything started moving again. But how it started moving again was us. We were moving in that frequency again, and we were able to, like, regardless of what the world was doing, what however it may have looked like it was a constrictive or restrictive, we weren't. We were flowing in this particular frequency, and people were coming together, and new things were evolving, and all this flow was happening. That flow is existing at the same time as maybe the more constrictive energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
happening at the same time. We're both able to exist here in this 5G and 5D
That's right.
at the
That's
same.
right. I mean,
We both
yes.
can exist.
I saw this. I've been watching this video. I'm not even done with it. I think it's about an hour long, and it's about this lady who had an out of body experience, near death experience, and she was talking about how she was on the operating table. And I've heard stories. We've all heard stories about this, but it's what she described the recall of her incident. And real quick, one of the things was she was in the room. She at the same time, like you were describing about how everything was streaming at the same time, almost like one, but you can hear everything.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like the wind and the birds when I'm out here and the trees,
mm.
everything's more expansive now. And she was saying how she could feel the emotions of everybody in the room and their thoughts at the same time,
Mm.
right? So when I'm listening to you talk about this expansion, I mean, and what it looks like here, even what you're describing with some people call the Great Divide or whatever you want to call it. Um, she was looking at it, in my opinion, from the higher self perspective, all at the same time, right? So she
Mm.
was able to see everything. She even recalled going through some life reviews, and she went back to her birth, and the same thing happened. She came out, she relived the experience. She knew everybody's thoughts, everybody's emotions, even her own. So I think this is where we're going. And I don't know how fast that happens. I think we do it basically. We drive it. But it to me, I feel like we're closer to that now. And I'm with you. In the last 2 weeks, whatever, something's changed. I mean, in a big way. Like there's a new language. It's just all new. And I want to ask you something too in this period. So you know how over the years, and I know for you, those of you who don't know Shekina's story, I mean, you went to Sedona, you got called, and you were woke in the 90s having experiences, but I mean, you got called to Sedona, I think in 2009 or 2011, something like that.
Yes, 2000. I was here in 2011.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've had many, I call them come to Jesus meetings with the team and the universe and the councils or whatever guides where you're on this path and you get an impediment, you get resistance, you're back on the path, and you just keep going to work every single day, and you do that on the land every day, and you have your ups and downs sometimes, right? I mean, that's just how it's been. It's a natural progression. So several times over the years I've heard uh, let's get serious. We got some stuff to do. But this time, in the last couple of weeks, I'm hearing like, okay, literally, like, playtime's over, laugh, enjoy, live, and love. But we got work to do, and it's upon us now. It literally is upon us now. And I think 2021, that's what it represents for me energetically, is collaboration, co-creation, and actually, living consciously with that embodiment, even though that's an ongoing thing, an expanding thing. And I think we're starting to see evidence of that. And one of those things, thanks to you today, is the 5G, 5D thing, because it makes sense. It's like a merging of, like, we're in the middle, merging both of them or something. I don't know.
I feel like everything you said is what I've experienced in and everything that we have experienced, I feel, is saying that to us.
Mm-hmm.
That how it's been, and yes, I've the last 10 years, it's been a lot here in Sedona. And because I've had 2 near-death experiences while I was here.
Oh,
And,
wow.
but it's almost been like, now we thought things, we went through different things. But if you just look out to where we're at right now, it's just like it is on now.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not children anymore. I feel like we're not children anymore. It's full on. It's just it's like it's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything that you've seen and you've experienced is telling you that.
Yeah.
It's that it is absolutely on. And even, how can I say it? Okay, I'll say it like this. The resistance. I'll say it like that. I feel the increase in the resistance, because I've personally experienced increase in the resistance on very many levels.
Right.
Call it the resistance that is not of, that is the the light force love, that is the resistance of dark and the negative, the very low. That resistance, to me, I've never seen it so strong,
Mm-hmm.
so evident.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean that it's more powerful. It means that it's saying, hey.
That's it.
Okay, exactly. It's like it's not under the radar anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like this anymore. It's like on full. It's on 100%. That everything that you see. So me seeing that puts me in a stronger space.
Yeah.
Seeing so much resistance on so many levels, and I've experienced it. I've experienced attacks. I've experienced, the negativity from the world through various ways, because because of my faith.
Mm-hmm.
It how interesting it is. It's like sometimes you're not Catholic enough, or you're too Catholic, or you're not Catholic, or you're not Christian enough, or you're not this enough, or you're too New Age enough. It's interesting how I've been on different sides of that. However, so it's those energies that are actually showing us who
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Like, those opposing energies are actually supportive of us, believe it or not.
Yes, they are.
But you have to see that, because there's always that higher, there's that other, that bandwidth. So what's up right now for us? Unity and connection. And beyond our differences. That is up in the biggest, unbelievable way.
Yeah.
That's what's being shown in our world. And that's what's happening to us, personally as well. So we have to get beyond that. We have to top it out. We have to pop out of it. We have to pop out of that lower density.
Yeah.
We're being forced. Pop out of that lower density and go to the higher place, because that's what you really want. That's what I really want. I want to experience more love. I want to experience more connection and unity. And at certain times, all of a sudden, it just pops open, and I start feeling it within everything, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. And that is really powerful.
Yeah, it is.
It's the presence. I've been feeling more of the what I call is the presence.
Yeah.
The presence through and beyond time and space, but being human. And in the presence, there's so much love too.
Mm-hmm.
And so much acceptance and so much connection. I think that's that higher 5D love. And I just went to see what 5G is, because I don't know what that is. I don't know what's going on in this 3D world. I'm like, okay, I have to know what this is, because I know the balance of I know it's 5D. And I go, and there's this, like the United States, and it's all pink. 5G is all pink, right? And I'm like, wow, pink. And then there's all these beautiful violet colors that they have to. It's just like gorgeous, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm, wow, they really got it, right? Because to get to that 5D level, got to go through the love. It's a higher octave.
Yeah. Plus it's the feminine.
Everything is
higher heart,
showing me what it really is.
Yeah.
It's the 5D. It used to be the Blu-ray. You want to get the Blu-ray player, right? Blu-ray,
mm-hmm.
because it's got more sensory awareness, right? Because because Blu-rays are ultra sensitive empaths. Everything is like on the world there's a higher expression of that. Yeah. There's an always underlining of a higher expression that we have, that we're seeing in the world. Anyway, that's how I see it. So I'm not I just feel like wow, we're really going into 5D.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're in it. And another thing about what you were saying, I don't know if you've experienced this, but certain things aren't sticking anymore. Like I first noticed it with the false flag episodes of the last few years, right? Like a shooter or a fire, 9/11 type stuff, where they would have these episodes. And I noticed that the press didn't hold on to them anymore, because people weren't resonating with it. They could see through the illusion, or whatever you want to call it. But what I'm saying is that now I notice that, like, number one, for instance, if I try to force something, it's not allowed. If something's not supposed to happen, it's not allowed. If I read something or hear something or even say something or write something, and it's something that's been said and it's something that's been perpetuated, if there's not 100% truth in it, it's not sticking. Like the things that used to stick aren't sticking anymore. Wow. So that tells me there's a lot of stuff behind us now, right?
Wow.
Especially when you look at the number of people that are doing the work on themselves, regardless of our shadows, regardless if we get imbalanced or we project, the amount of work people are doing on themselves. And I really feel that it's we need to give ourselves more credit as we move away from saying, oh, they're not awake, or he or she can do that and I can't, or I can do that and they can't. And it moves into that, we're all in this together thing, this us thing. There is no doubt in my mind that in this Trinity age, that servicing self is the exact same thing as serving your brothers and sisters in the universe. It's the best thing in equality for all three of those parts of the triad. And there's many, many triads.
Wow. It's not it's it's not holding in the frequency resonancy.
No, it's not.
It's not holding in the field anymore.
Mm-mm.
And I see that I experience that a lot. You know, I was talking about ascension amnesia because I kind of like it. There's a lot of things I like about it because I don't remember like any negative stuff. You know, sometimes there's stuff that is, you know, hurtful. Uh Different things, you know, people will do certain things and it won't resonate in my field.
Right.
It will it will be gone. It's not like you said, it's not sticking anymore. Like even personally, it's just not sticking in my field. It's like I totally don't remember it. It's not there anymore because it's not resonating into the frequency that I'm vibrating or the frequency that's vibrating right now. And it's kind of a nice thing. It's
Yeah.
kind of a nice thing not to be always be marked. I think the that kind of consciousness, you know, how it's been for humans is we're always marking in ourselves. We're energetically marking in ourselves all these things, right? And then we're always getting triggered, and it keeps us in this the same loop of what emotionally our thoughts.
Mm.
And it's just like you're saying, it's just and plus with the expansion of time, it's not resonating in our fields anymore. It's not resonating in our consciousness anymore. Um, and that's a sign.
Yeah,
Like
it is a sign.
that is a sign. So all of these things, what you're saying as well is we got to give ourselves a little bit more, you know, credit. Because I hear what you're saying because I think we're just moving and moving and moving and moving and expanding and working and working and working. And to take some time to say, hey, th- we know where we're at right now because of how we're vibrating. We're not even holding this anymore. We're expanding in time and space, and that's huge.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
that's a big deal.
Yes, it is. I mean, and the whole like to me, one of the things that's not sticking anymore is the past, right? So, and I don't mean the past like the traumas we worked through. I mean the past like, oh, I did this and I did that. You know, like that's not even sticking. Like I'm not who I was yesterday. I'm absolutely totally. How many times have you been activated or had an activation in the last 6 months where you literally wake up a new person? I mean, like who am I? Like what's the point of doing Soulogy? Like that you have all these things. It's like you get stripped down to nothing after going through across another threshold, and you get stripped down to nothing. You're starting all over, but it is at a higher frequency, no doubt, right? But all that stuff, like the past, or even fixation on the future, um, you know, could have, would have, should have, kind of thinking, you know, like even the chatter, although it's still there, it's not like it used to be. I mean, we used to have chatter 24/7 in our heads. You know, you're too gray in the hair, you don't dress right, you know, all those things that we used to hear. So I think we might also remind ourselves in terms of how far we've come is how much clear space has been garnered in that dialogue that we have with the universe. It's not like it used to be.
That's very true. That's very true. And the amount of what I've seen and what you were saying before about there's so many doing the work and doing the Reiki and doing the shadow work. And I've never seen ever this amount of people awakening.
Yeah.
The, the, the numbers
Mhm.
are incredible and it's continuously and it's all walks of life as well. So not only do we have the, the star seeds or the blue rays or the interdimensionals or the angelics who have come here specifically for this purpose. Like I specifically, we came here specifically for this purpose, to get beyond the programs because of where we came from. But the large numbers across the board of people awakening,
Yeah.
it's incredible. Like, oh, you hear it over and over and over. I just awaken, I just awaken, I just awaken. And all in all age range too.
Yeah.
Young, middle, old, older, all, in all aspects. We're in this momentum. We're in this incredible momentum of, I truly believe, of this ascension. And I truly believe that things are shifting and are changing. And the fact that, because we're here, Todd, like literally here,
Mhm.
like the blue rays, we're here. All the
Everyone.
stars, all the interplanetary, all the angelics, we're here. And by us being here means that we're shifting the system.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt about that. A lot of people I've talked to, and from my own experience too, in the last 3 or 4 weeks in particular, there's been massive downloads, massive, just massive, different experiences on a personal level. A lot of people being in solitude and in private. Um, I've kind of got reacquainted with what always came easy to me, the organic and the nature. So behind my house, there's a dry riverbed and a forest, like a little forest. And the activity there in the last 5 days, 6 days has been like I've never experienced. Um, it's, like when you were talking about everything's there. So I sit out there and I can hear the birds talking.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear their words more clearly, what they're saying to me when I talk directly, or even what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's the wind, the leaves, the trees,
Mm-hmm.
huge. And then for the first time with any consistency, seeing and hearing the nature beings has been really incredible. So I've had some powerful experiences, and I mention these things about myself uh, because, and like the stories of the people that come on, is because it's happening everywhere in our own ways. It's happening everywhere. I know people that have ascension level relationships with what humans call pets. And then there's people. I mean, so it's in all these, like you said, everybody's here. Everybody's here. And I don't think we have any idea how far this is going to go. And I mean that in the highest reverence, you know. I mean, I think whatever we're not going to end up, but I mean, whenever we get past a certain point and that point is embodied in the physical, I know we're going to see from the human only perspective miracles, serious miracles in your face, supernatural abilities,
Yeah.
and probably the abolishment of time and space. And we're going to still be in the physical body, which is profound. That's profound to me.
Will it, the fields are more open.
Mhm.
5G has brought 5D, and the fields are more open. And on both sides have opened the fields, has opened up the residency. And
Yep.
and as we increase, it's true. Because we're here, I recently got that. I mean, I've known about this because I've been a Blu-ray for I've known that I've been a Blu-ray for, some time, and I've been in the Blu-ray community with the ultra sensitive, empath, angelic star seeds.
Yes.
And but I've gotten recently, I have to tell, it takes a long time to be comfortable in this world, I have to say. Um, as an ultra sensitive empath, as a star, it's taken a long time to ever feel comfortable here, to ever feel that I ever belonged here, ever. I've gone through my stages of of feeling that I'm okay here, because I experienced life so differently, so empathically. And that's part of my mission, is to help the ultra sensitive star seeds, the blue rays, because I'm a blue ray. And but more recently, this other thing has been happening, where I'm starting to feel differently in my presence of being in my body, in my life, on this earth planet, and which is feeling that I belong here,
Yeah.
and but that I really belong here. And this may sound odd, and that I'm not an outcast,
Right.
and that I'm not worthy of everything else that all the other humans have and get. Right? And because we because we have I feel so differently. We have a tendency to feel differently, right?
Hmm.
It's not about greed and money and house. We get the money, get the property, get it, get your get your stuff, get your stuff, get your stuff, right? It's evolution, love, um how can I serve, how can I be better, and such sensitivities. But something has shifted in knowing how important that we all are, how important that the star seeds, and who and what they are,
Yeah.
like the empaths, and how important that is, that they continue to be ultra sensitive empaths, or the indigos, or the crystals, or the rainbows. They're special gifts to the world, and their ability, their sensory sensitivity is so important, because it shifts the dynamics of our planet and our world and our DNA, and it helps everyone else. And I know that, because all of us are here, that and we're here to make these here to make these changes, because there are earth souls. There are earth
Yes.
souls that come here over and over and over, and they get locked into the system, and they
Yes.
keep doing the same thing over, because it's a system. They get locked into the system, and then they can't get out, and then they go, and then they come back.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same thing over, because it's the system. But we came to push through that system, to clear those mental programs, all those mental programs. I feel that were in humans, that were placed in humans,
Hmm.
limited beliefs and programs, and to do certain things, like to worship, or the Messiah complex, on and on and on and on. To always worship outside of yourself.
The ego program.
We came to clear those, because we have an inclination from where we've come from.
Yeah.
That's why we don't fit into the system, because we're not supposed to fit into the system.
That's right.
We're supposed to break through those barriers and those systems of the limitations, and of the mind, and of the sensory awareness. So huge. And so that's been something that has been really beautiful,
Yeah.
to feel that. But I'm also at the same time feeling the group, like the group consciousness of us, the frequency bandwidth of who we are, and it gives me strength.
Yeah.
It gives me home. It gives me place,
Yeah.
like on this planet, because we've always been searching for a home, right? We're like,
Yeah. Home's a good word.
where's home? Where's home? so often the star seeds or the blue rays, they'll say this over and over and over again. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. You know,
I did it 2 days ago.
because I want this. I want to feel that acceptance, that love, that place, right? And we're not supposed to leave.
Mm-mm.
We're supposed to feel it, make it here, bring it here,
Mm-hmm.
which is challenging, I know. But that is exactly why we're here. We're born. Being born is all there is.
Yeah.
There was a message that Solara gave to me, and maybe I'll share it to you or not, but it really impacted me.
What
How
was it?
that we're
Was
here.
it private? Was it private or?
I share it with you. I can share it with you. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
It's kind of simple, but it's about where we're going and who we are. And so Solaris, the universal frequency harmonizer technologies all come from through the sun. I've been working through the sun for a while, because the sun, no one can take the sun away from us. The sun shines on everybody, no matter who you are. So this is what I heard. This is from Solaris, the sun. I shined for all. No color or creed is more worthy than another, and worthy of the sun. It does not matter where you live or do for a living. I'm always there. Perpetuous, steadfast in the light source. When the lights go out, powered by the false systems of enslavement, I will be here, providing you with the life-giving substance of all you need. The earth and I are in constant companion, holy communion of service. Of all you will ever need is plenty and available to you. You do not need to do anything to receive this other than be born here. Your first breath is holy. This is your first communion with life. All that has been, all that will go before you, is now a part of you. You are a part of the holy communion of life, the water, the sky, the ancient, the stars. Nature lives through you, and you are deserving and blessed because you are.
Yeah.
You're born here.
That's right.
That's it.
That's
You're
right.
worthy
Yeah.
of
I mean,
every single thing. You were born in the light of all that is, and a part of every single thing. That's who we are. First breath's first communion.
yeah.
I'm like,
And it's like anything that's any part of us that we've connected to, let's put it that way, in our multidimensionality, any past life memories, and all that. I had this as you're talking about this. I had this in the last 3-4 days, very much the same thing, and it was like none of that. It's not everything that you know and imagine, and for everyone else, it's happened. It's part of you all. So it's not that it doesn't matter, but all you have is right now. And I'm standing out here looking at the forest, and the gist of it was humility. It was basically saying to me, Todd, we've had this conversation before. The gift, the prize, the everything is life itself. And all you can really say, I don't care who you are and how psychic you are, it doesn't even matter. All you have and all you can prove is right here, right now. So where are you and where are you going? Because it's really one and the same. The only reason I'm not where I want to be is because I don't believe I'm there or I'm that. And that's what I think's changed for me is I have a certain vision for my life. And I'm now understanding that I can be in that space right now, no matter what's in my physical environment. And that's been the message. The biggest message for me is what you want, you have, if you believe you have it, in so many terms. And that's where I'm putting my efforts now, of manifestation and dreams and, all that.
You've done
That must have been good because my Kundalini just went off.
well, well, when Solaris said that to me, and I've had a relationship with Solaris for a little while now, they're simple words, but it did something to me. It did something. It made me feel so. I'm feeling it like sacred and holy.
Sacred.
I'm a part of everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm not an outcast. None of us are outcast. We're everything.
Yeah.
And we're so worthy.
Yeah.
We're it. We're the gods. I mean, I really feel it. We're the gods that have come back.
Absolutely. You hear me say it all the time.
the gods aren't coming.
Yeah.
Gods can't come because we came in here.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had to go through the veil of illusion. I mean, forgetfulness, to come in because we had to go through the transformation, the transcendence of healing it and transforming those thoughts and those lineages. I came as a Blu-ray particularly so that I could heal the lineage, so that I could heal it front and back, so that I could vibrate that frequency, so that I could heal those very challenging, difficult things in my bloodline.
Yeah.
Some of the intense, the dysfunction, the addictions, the this, the mental illness, all of it. I'm not saying I have it per se. I'm saying this is all the stuff that was in my family, that I was a part of, that I needed to be a part of, so that I could transform and transcend and heal that first and foremost, so that I could continue on with, my mission. I mean, that's why I came in, so that I could heal that, because I knew that I could. We knew we could.
Yeah.
We knew that we could transform and transcend and heal that, and it needed to be healed. It needed to be honored. It needed to be loved. It needed to be respected.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, and on terms of what you're saying too, in what's happened with me, is another thing has been what you're talking about, which is the word sacredness, sanctity. Like I walked away from several communions and the humility, which the humility it comes from the stupid. At least from Todd it does. Like when you really get something and it's really laid in front of your heart, because your heart's open, it's very moving. And I've walked out of it, and again, I express these things because I feel like people are going through them, and maybe they hear somebody say something and the awareness or whatever occurs. It's code. All of our words are code. But I walked away going, from this day forward, because I made a couple of vows, and I said, and this was all about me, from this day forward, regardless of anything that's happened up to this point, because again, I'm not who I was in these energies. We have that opportunity to really not be who we were a day ago, a week ago, a year ago, and certainly the other things we've dealt with. But to walk forward from this point forward, and hold myself in sacredness at a new level, my relationship with Morgan, my relationships with people, period, my work. And the big words that stand out besides sacredness are integrity and compassion, right? I mean, to me, it's everything is leading to and from the heart. It's like somebody was on yesterday, the day before, and they said, so in other words, they were saying when energy comes in, they've gotten to a point now where instead of being an empath and feeling everything and taking it on and having to like isolate and block things out and all that, we've all been there. That to take they've gotten to the point now, and I can really relate to this over a gradual evolution of bringing everything into the heart. And their metaphoric description was it goes into the heart and comes out as pure white gold light. And I thought that's it, because we can because of this transition and the intensity of it and the ups and downs of it, there's some things that we have to put on the back burner. There is legitimately, there's things we just can't deal with right now because we're dealing with a lot of things, and we'll get to it down the road. You can be sure that the universe is going to bring it back to you, so but my point is this sacredness I felt. I don't claim to experience things for the collective, but I got to believe that, in other words, another way that it was put to me was the level of sacred experience is directly related to the sacredness you hold for yourself. Right? That's what I was told. Yeah. So
Wow.
it's very emotional weekend and a very powerful. I hugged Morgan yesterday and she said to me, "Why are you shaking?" I said, "Am I shaking?" And it was, my heart was just going like that, right? But it's almost been not a constant thing, but it's been on and off. And I've seen people talking about things like this in the last couple of weeks. It's it's pretty cool.
Yeah, what I did was, because I was asking about that because you know I I have been I have experienced some resistance. I said, some attack
Mhm.
and some resistance because of who I am, and it's been at certain times really really intense, and I don't so I'm trying to how do I deal with this? How do I deal with this? Because I don't deal with things um if if there's negativity towards me or attacks towards me or darkness towards me, I would, and it was coming through another avenue too, through another kind of person too. I don't my reaction is not to ever like get revenge or
Mm.
back or anything like that, because that doesn't make sense to me. That just doesn't. And there's been this thing where, well, what you need to do, certain people say what you need to do is to just throw them love, you know, put the love out there, right? And that wasn't right for me either,
No.
because now back when I used to do that, I would push the love out to this person, right? That was having resistance coming in. And I remember one time this person says to me, "Hey, you're throwing love at me. I know you're doing that, and I don't want you to do that." Right? And I'm like, wow, okay. So I'm like, okay, me pushing my agenda on them,
Hmm.
but that's a good thing to do. So
Hmm.
what do I do? What do I do? And what I heard and what I was told is they're not against you.
That's right.
They're not against you. Like, all of God and all of life and all of creation serves you. Everything is for you. They're not your enemy. Even though what they're doing, they serve you.
No, they're not.
they're serving you. They're serving you. And I'm like, yeah, right. They're serving me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because at every level, everything is serving me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. And there isn't resistance. I don't have to go and go,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm going to push my agenda on you. Now,
No,
um, wherever that you're at, that's where you're at. It's like, if that feels right to you, though, then that's what you need to do.
that's right.
We're at different places at different times, and sometimes it's like if you feel called to push the love out to someone, push the love out to someone. I didn't feel like that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-mm.
I didn't want an entanglement with someone.
Mm-mm.
To push my agenda. I don't want to push my agenda on anyone, no matter what. Even if we would say, well, that's bad. What
Yeah,
they're doing is really bad and really wrong and really negative. Well,
that's it.
that's their choice,
Yeah,
right? But I still don't have to push my agenda on them.
no,
What I have to do, though, I have to take responsibility of myself, and I have to take responsibility of the presence. And so when I now when I'm faced with different things, when I'm faced with resistance, then I become more in my presence.
yeah,
I become I amp up um, my presence, and I realize that they're serving me. And
yeah,
I see this little saying that there's no resistance, that we're all on the same playing field. And it's like just diffuse every that just diffuse for me, that diffuses everything,
right on.
and that allows me to be more in my presence and to have more love and more compassion,
Mm-hmm.
in who I am.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's coming to. What Pamela just put up. We are mirrors for to see the reflection. No need to engage. So I think that entanglement comes from our past patterns of engagement. Now we have telepathy, and I mean, for myself, and I've been talking about it, and we've had conversations about it. I'm not saying as much. I'm finding that if we just, if I just allow um, the energy to speak and do its thing, and don't rush it or force, I don't have to say a whole lot. We get each other. I see it happening every day, and I know a lot of people experience it. It's almost the same thing happens with, from my perspective, as time's gone on, certainly here in 2021, where every day and every part of every day is making a sequential sense. Like, wow, that just happened at the convenience store, and I went over here to the pizza place, and this guy mentions Anubis, and I go over here and they mention ISIS, and then I think that might trigger me to go. Let me just pop in and see what's in the Egyptian playground, or is there a message for me? And it may be something else, but there's this sequential unfoldment to the day that's occurring and making more and more sense, like reading a book. And so, because of that, there's, for me anyway, it's like, and maybe it's a masculine thing, uh, in physical representation of the lower chakras, let's say that, or the organic, and say the feminine's the higher chakras in the galactic, but is to, it's serving the atmosphere better for me to say less, because there's more being said with what I don't say, right, than what I do, and you know what I mean. So like,
Mm.
and it's been a challenge for me because this is what I do. So yeah, so but I can see it, and what I see more than anything is, and I said it on the last show, is this mother goddess, because our voice is like everything. Our voice is made up of infinite numbers of frequencies from all of our connections to timelines, dimensions, incarnations, and so on. So there's a prominent part of that voice to bring it into balance and alignment and equilibrium, and that's the mother goddess. And we all know that this is a patriarchal system by design. This is the playground, the university we set up. So that voice I see coming out on the show, I see it coming out in the world, I see it coming out everywhere. And it's beautiful. It's like a soft lava-esque type of plasma flow of energy that's just consuming us, and we're kind of melting into it.
Blu-ray. Blu-ray energy communion. I love it.
This I know, man. I feel like, I don't know if I feel like crying, or I just feel like it's that's that word again, sacred. So when I came out and it was a weekend, one of the sacred initiatives was now, beginning Monday morning. I've always connected, Morgan told me a long time ago, connect with their higher selves before the show starts. And that's worked great. Going 2,000 shows like that. I mean, it's such a multidimensional experience sometimes. But I thought when I came out of it, I was like, from now on, every single show is a sacred conscious conversation. It's sacred. That's the first adjective in front of whatever, right? And I really feel like that's not because of some personal epiphany. I think that's something that's I I picked up on, that's in the collective. A new sense of gratitude, and a new perspective on what sacred is, and how we can be that.
Oh,
We always talk forever.
that's so. Oh, I love that. Todd. I mean, I know that I'm more than a Blu-ray. I'm an angelic. I'm more than that.
Hmm.
But it does give me something, some kind of connection here on this planet, and kind of a reason why I am the way that I am. And speaking in language has always been extremely challenging for me.
Yeah.
Um, I when I was younger in school, and I just, it's like my second or third language. It's not my first language. There's another kind of language, another kind of communion. And I feel like that's what you're speaking of, and it's beyond language.
Hmm.
And nothing gets lost in the
Hmm.
translation. And the best way, I mean, the best way that I can communicate is, I feel, and do my service in a certain way, is through these transmissions, because they're really not words, they're frequency.
Hmm.
And it's a kind of a communication that speaks to and awakens a part of your spirit and a part of your soul and uh, your heart. And that's my way. And it's a way that I can communicate kind of here. And so it's so beautiful, what you're sharing, especially as a male. I'm happy to hear about that,
Hmm.
that you're in that and wanting that, and you're holding that. I holding that space, that presence.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a course for men called "Shut the F Up." But I'm telling you,
Oh my
Morgan
God, it's
Morgan talked to me about this for a long time, and not necessarily about me personally, but just how the energetics work. And you know how it goes. You don't get anything until you experience it, and you don't have to necessarily experience it in the physical. It can be in the etherical activation or transformation or whatever. But I've noticed it because of the increased clarity in the internal dialogue that we're all having, and because I do the show, and because I interact with her and others, in person. And I've just noticed that in all cases, it's better for me and everyone else if I keep my mouth shut. And if I'm going to say something, let everybody say what they're going to say, right? And then if I still need to say something, say it. Because by the time that happens, most of the time that I'm noticing is like I get to the toward the end, I'm like, I don't even need to say anything, because the reason I wanted to say something is because I'm so smart, or because I don't even know why, but it's not important. Like, what's important is listening to what they're saying, because as everything else, what they're saying isn't always the same thing, right? What somebody is saying is giving you a certain message if you take the literal words, but if you look beneath it, you can sense their, and you're an empath, so you can sense their pain or their story or their suffering or their shadow or distortion or anger or whatever it might be, or their agenda. These are things that we're having to deal with now because telepathy is becoming a bigger part of our life. So there's a new protocol, there's a new etiquette, right? There's a new responsibility that goes with that. And and I for me, with everything I've observed, and I'm not saying I know anything, but the masculine energy in all of us, the distorted masculine energy in all of us needs to shut the F up, excuse my French, and to allow that feminine energy that's been suppressed in all of us to now speak and not have a meltdown when they do. Because those meltdowns that they have, and I have, that part of me, come from all that lineage, history, suppression, oppression, murder, hangings, go right down the list. So I think that for me, a big way to contribute to that is to listen and to create a space where that part of us can be heard. And I think it's very important at an energetic basis because it involves the throat chakra, just like your music, just like your harmonic light language. There's something about that chakra that really lights people up. And I think we're getting our downloads and such now from each other, versus, not that they're not important, the multidimensional aspects and our connections with our other aspects, but to be down here in the trenches and be seen in front of you what we've been seeing in the ethers, that's a I mean, that's like, being conscious in dream state. It's like heaven on earth. It's supernatural.
Wow. So you're holding, so you're holding more of this. It's not that you're not speaking, you're holding a stronger space within your own self.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it with you. You're holding a stronger resonancy within your own being, your own masculine, and what that's doing by not constantly, and your words are beautiful, Todd, but not constantly speaking, um, but by holding your own resonancy. But if this is about your own presence
Mm-hmm.
of the sacred masculine, what I'm seeing is that others, you're you're giving a greater expression for them,
Mm-hmm. That's
because
right.
we don't we don't have a place, and um the male energy can be really wonderful at holding that sacred space for us, for the feminine, so that we can feel safe, and that we can open up. um it's huge. It's 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 huge and powerful to be able to do that, and so significant, because then things can happen, Todd, like what you were saying, like things that may not have happened could happen.
Oh yeah.
If you're not holding this beautiful sacred space, then it's harder.
Yeah.
It's more challenging, and it's a different flow. It's a different flow. It's I'm kind of taken aback by all of it. Like I
Well, I mean, but it's what's happening, Shekina. I mean, you're in a relationship. I mean, there's the masculine, feminine energies are. I mean, it's been part of our landscape, and there's a lot of ways to look at it. Like, you know what? We've tried everything else. Why don't we try this? I mean, I hate to sound, but however, we need to get the message through. But to me, as a physicalized masculine energy, because that's another thing that came in really big this past weekend was, you and many, or however it goes, have a certain balance of masculine and feminine, but you were put in this male body for a reason. So the androgyny thing, put that in the back burner. Don't even think about it. This is the earth trip, right? So this is how it was designed. But to me, speaking from that perspective, when you can say it a couple different ways. When I go into silence, observation, and I listen, not only do I hear things I've never heard before and see and read things more clearly, but I also hear myself better. Much, 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 much better. Because it's such a mind blowing expansion to to have, all of us activations and elevations throughout, let's say, a year. And we get to this point, and we've all been there, and we're like, wow, I got this together. And then the next day you wake up and there's a geomagnetic storm and you get knocked on your butt. And you know what I mean? And it's like, I go, and you go back into your routine, and using this as an example, you learn things because you're at a higher state of awareness and you're being quiet. Now, again, I'm relating this to not necessarily to the male form, but to the masculine voice in us. That could have been created, for instance, in the case of a female who had to be a single parent,
mm,
who had to develop masculine earth tendencies to facilitate the matrix. Well, you got to get a job, you got to have a weekly
yep,
paycheck, you got to have insurance
yep,
for your kids, and
yep.
there's a lot of ways to see this, but to keep it simple, and I think it runs probably 80-90% accurate to the physical incarnation's gender. That if you look at a conversation and you listen uh, to a conversation, and you and I talked about this in Sedona when I met you in 2018 in the driveway. Remember, we're in the driveway, and that was just a micro example of what I'm talking about. And if you look at a conference, if you look at a conversation at a dinner table with 5 people, if you look at a relationship, if you listen, and you will hear the distorted masculine doing most of the talking, whether it's female or male. So the first ones that are going to be able to voice the true feminine are the feminine. And that can only generally be done when the male, from his programming, turns it off and starts to listen. They don't call it women's intuition for nothing.
You know, also is that there the women, women have had to go on their own for so long, and they've had to be so strong. Um, they've had to be more masculine
Yeah.
to be in this world. When you're in this world and you're on your own, and you got to take care of yourself, you got to take care of children. I don't have children, but I was on just by myself for a very long time. Um, boy, you just you don't have that. You don't. You, you have to. There's a certain system out there, and you have to get strong.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like be in your feminine. You can't be in your feminine so much all the time.
Yeah.
if even if you are kind of a feminine woman, and I would say that I think maybe I'm probably more feminine, a feminine woman.
Just slightly.
However, I see how strong
Mhm.
and had to go in my masculine side that I've had to be, and to be who I am, to be on this earth plane, and
Mhm.
just how it is, and and I and I understand, and I certainly understand women who are a little bit more masculine out there, who are on their own. I mean, I so understand that, because you have to be on your own for a long time and be in this kind of man's world, and some of the things that we talked about and some of the things that you saw out there
Mhm.
that goes on, with the male and the female community out there across the board, no matter what.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to be so strong, so strong. And then when you get in, so I think what you're saying, like, it goes across the board for women, to be able to be more in their feminine,
Yeah.
to be able to feel safe again,
Yeah.
to be able to feel safe again in their
Yeah.
feminine expression with a man. Wow.
Anywhere. I
And
mean, yeah.
it's yeah, so yeah, thank you. And even when you get into the relationship, when you get, like what you're talking, when you get in a relationship, then it still just doesn't fall into place.
It's the same
You have to
path
work,
as,
you have
yeah,
to
it's the same
evolve.
path as the individual journey. You're just applying it to two people, and you're putting one, would that beyond the cliches, oneness into motion. Because how are you going to get to oneness with 10 people if you can't do it with two? You know what I mean? But I guess,
Wow.
just to close that out, because I want to give you some time. So if you looked at, in trying to keep it simple, if you looked at the realm and balance in equilibrium throughout the universe, equal energy exchange type of frequency or template, and let's say feminine which it does, represents flow in this realm, and masculine represents force, right? Competition, uh, get on the get on the corporate ladder. There's this, do that, do this, like the military. Military is not a feminine frequency. It's a very mad, right? So if you look at that, and we know we've been out of balance, where does the balance? How do we affect the balance? And you have the force up here and the flow down here. Well, you've got to have more flow, and you've got to take the power away of the force. And I really feel like the way that looks, and obviously this has been a lot of conversations. This is what we eat, sleep, drink, breathe, right? Like everybody here, Morgan and I. But it's, to me, what that looks like in the physical is in the localized interactions. And I'm telling you, any man, I can tell you right now, any man, try this. You'll be biting your tongue, but if you don't say anything, no matter what, don't say anything. Just listen. And this can be to other, whoever's there. And it's transformational, and it enhances the feminine energy to speak, and to feel, like, to your point, to feel safe. How can you speak if you don't feel safe? That's what you did for years. That's what the feminine energy did for years. Was the feminine energy being themselves? Were they being authentic when they got suppressed? No. What did they do? They had to develop new programs. And one of those was suppression, was putting a mask over the mouth. I don't mean that for any other reason. But so it's important to bring that back up. And it happens through disempowering the false masculine and providing a space for the true divine feminine to come up and speak when she's ready, right? when the flow is there. So I love you, Shekina. It's always incredible. Is there anything that you want to do before we get out of here? Doesn't matter to me. I'm not attached. But anything you want to say or anything you want to offer, or just whatever. And I just want to say this too before she answers. Come see Shekina and Tim at Soulogy Fest. It's going to be an incredible experience. It really is. It's not going to be like a normal conference. It's going to be like the soul gatherings we've had, and Shekina's been a part of. She can tell you it's
Mm.
spontaneous, it's creative, it's well intended, it's from the heart. It's not a lot of how to and instruction. It's just a gathering, and let's make it up as we go kind of thing. And it's pretty cool. So it's all yours.
Sacred and powerful. Sacred and powerful, our synergy of energies coming together, and that expression, and holding a gorgeous, beautiful space. And you hold a gorgeous, beautiful space for us, so that we can, we can share. Um, uh, wow. um, I'm continuing to, my service is bringing the transmissions out to you, to on the YouTube. And Tim and I are working at getting the transmissions onto a broader, greater audience. I'm so grateful for that. Um, I've I'm coming to know more about kind of what I do. It takes a long time when you have a near-death experience to understand what that is. And what I realized is, because every time I would go to the light and back, that my expression of how I would sing or bring forth the transmissions, it would change. And what I realized is that I went to the harmonic universe and got attuned in the harmonic universe.
Wow.
And then coming back, and that's what that's about. And that's also why, now I did have the some downloads. The Pleiades and their ships came to Cathedral, and certain things happened when they downloaded this awakened this information of these sacred blueprints. But it's all about the harmonic universe, and those codes, that awakening that happens when you hear it, when you can connect into that again, when you can hear that again.
Mm.
And so whether it's, so doing it through the songs, it's kind of a real feminine way, a sacred divine feminine way of activating or awakening the codes.
Right.
Instead of saying these are the codes, this is how you get awakened. It's bringing it through a way more of a beauty and harmony,
Mm.
that's easy to, maybe more easy to accept,
Yeah.
more gentle. um
Yeah.
and so, I say, please go on my YouTube channel, because that is, my service. And I do my best to, when I bring these transmission in, and they come through to make them in the best way that I can, in the most beautifulest way,
Yeah.
to receive them. And the other thing is the universal frequency harmonizers, the sacred technologies, Todd. I love doing that as well. Like, that is so a part of, the ability to be able to bring the higher realms and the connections through, and the wave frequency into a form, the singing, but also through a form. So it took me probably a year, but I created the universal frequency harmonizer pendants, and they are a sacred technology, and they connect you to the ninth dimension of that light frequency that the ascended masters and the sovereign beings, utilize of light,
Right.
bringing them like into a sacred technology and into a form. So I have them and I love them. The University Frequency Harmonizer pendants.
Mhm.
So
All right.
this is the design that came, and they are a broadcaster of the creator code's frequency. And it's a sacred technology. And it like vibrates, it helps to awaken your own divine original blueprint, holding your divine original blueprint. Because this is what wanted to come from, from creator. So the pendants, wonderful. I always meditate. I'm meditating with mine. They each have a different kind of frequency. This is the universal heart radiant frequency. And also is with this, so yes, there is the actual physical, it's like high frequency, high frequency jewelry, but you can receive this in different ways. Like if you don't get a pendant, if you not able to get a pendant, you can always receive, that frequency, because I put it out there always freely. So I put the sun meditation, has all of those, has the codes in there of the creator's codes of that
Right.
mathematical wave frequency creation that
Where
was.
do where do people find them? It's on your website?
Find them on shekinarose.com.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I pulled it up and
You
didn't
go
come.
to my website,
Yeah. Yeah.
shekinarose.com, and there is a store,
Okay.
to the store, and you can look at all the pretties. And I
ShekinaRose.com.
always invite people to look at them, because just by looking at them and what they say sometimes can give you like an activation, and I put them online.
Mm-hmm.
So the sun meditation, those are the tones that came from Solaris,
Mm.
and it brought them through, and then I put the pendants in them as well. So you can experience, that resonancy, that frequency, and what it's doing, it's providing support for your divine original blueprint of light and keeping a stronger resonancy within your field.
Yeah. Right on.
But I worked on for quite some time with Solaris, with the sun, because this energy, those codes are coming through the sun. Because
Yes.
the sun's right here.
Yeah.
It's a powerful source. It's free. No one can take it away from us.
It's like a smile in the soul.
Yeah, I love
Smile the soul in the sun.
it's a smile in the soul. Yeah.
Can't take it away from you. ShekinaRose.com. Shekina Rose Soulogy Fest, May 28th through 30th. We're going to have a free day on the 31st for everybody. Tim Smith, your collaborator and partner, is going to be there.
Yeah.
Many other people. And we're just honored to have you. You've been a big part of Soulogy. And everything's aligning. And even these types of things, I see a lot of alignment occurring in many levels. And the fact that it's starting to have a physicality, that's, to me, given all the stuff we've all been through, because you cannot go above the line further than you can't go any further than you've gone below the line. That's just the way this thing works. So we've gone through all this in a dense atmosphere. Think about what the other side of that's going to be in the physical, having lucid dream like and dimensional like experiences. And I believe this one in Sedona will be one.
You know, it's interesting. I'm feeling what you're experiencing. Um, I was at the Ascension retreat at the Equinox. Suzanne Ross puts it on. It was fabulous. She brought in some amazing people, speakers, bringing everybody together. I really loved how she was starting to bring like the different kinds of people together,
Hmm.
the near death experiencer people together, and the UFO ET people together. Like she was really, and coaches and all kinds of different people. She was bringing them like all together in one place, and I love that. I get this over and over how important it is that we need to. Do we all have a piece of the puzzle, and we need it.
Yeah.
It's not just the UFO disclosure, or it's not just the near death experiencer over here. It's not just this. I feel like we all have that piece. And so I was that day I had an hour that I was supposed to present. And that was the day, Todd,
What?
that I was like you, right? That was the day that I woke up and I was in the presence.
Oh, wow.
I felt so in the presence, and everything that I thought that I had planned that I wanted to do was starting to just kind of waver, right? Because I was feeling, wow, like I was feeling this amazing love, and I just wanted to be in the presence with others.
Wow.
I wanted that exchange because that's what I was feeling. I wanted to have that. Uh, so it was I did. It was challenge. It was sort of challenging because you're a speaker and you're supposed to you got to speak. You have to present, right? You have to
Yeah.
you have to present. I did my best to work it in, and I actually went and I sat down with all of them because like I didn't want to be standing up there and speaking
Yeah.
and about everything, right? And I sang too. I was like, let's be together. Let's experience, this presence. It's so significant, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
It
That's
is.
a true story of an empath. There was a day you wouldn't even considered going into a crowd. So, and again, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, you've been in Sedona for over 10 years and you've participated in a lot of conferences, right? Um, and we talked about it. And it's nothing, it's just what is. So, sometimes the things that get you to a certain point aren't, we get you to the next level. And I think this is something we can all agree on. We've tried the patriarchal system and we understand the characteristics of it and the programming of it. And we have enough information to say, we want to flip this thing. This is the type of scenario that I'm talking about. So you walk into an environment that you're comfortable and you express. And that's what the feminine does. The feminine channels, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the feminine channels. And she always has, but it just wasn't time. Now it's time. So hope to see a lot of that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm going to be there the 19th of May. So I'll be there in VOC for 3 weeks up until I think the 9th of June.
Wow.
So we'll have to get together and have a meal and, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
just catch up and with you and Tim. And I look,
Yes.
I look forward to it.
You and Morgan, are you going to do a hold something for us? The sacred, the sacred male, and the divine feminine. Are you going to hold some kind of something for us to share with us? Do
I
you
don't
think,
know.
are you gonna,
Huh?
could you do, wouldn't that
We
be
have,
great?
we have
Take,
plenty, we have plenty of open time. Uh, and, and yeah, there's plenty of room there. We definitely want to tighten up the schedule and the content of, each presentation or each ritual or each performance. But I think that's a great idea. I think that would be a really great idea. Uh, so I appreciate the suggestion. And yes, let's talk about it. Let's put something together. Yeah.
I'd like that because I'm with Tim, and it would be nice to experience that
Hmm.
with maybe more couples
Hmm.
or all, and maybe you being you and Morgan, because that's kind of also what you do, and I know that what Morgan does,
Hmm.
part of your forte, and maybe you could share that with us,
Yeah.
and that so that, and then we could actually experience that there,
Yeah.
and so that we're all holding this sacred space all together,
Yeah.
and amplifying that energy
Yeah.
for each other. I'm put you on the spot. I mean,
No, no, no. Hey, I'm always open. You know that. And I think it's a
but
great
that would
idea.
so
Yeah.
be because you and Morgan, it would be nice to have that sharing from both of you with that. Tim and I will be. I'd like, we'll probably be sharing maybe that song.
Mm. Yeah,
Nice.
that'd be cool.
We could share that.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of time for there really we're going to do something on Monday, Memorial Day. So there's going to be 20 plus hours of open, of which probably 8 will be scheduled and the other 12, will be open, and we'll do it as it happens. But I think that's something we could definitely plug in.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
'cause I'd like to. I mean, we talked about like on the first opening, maybe that I did a little singing, a little, in the
Hmm.
beginning, to support. Um, I would like to be a part of like some real intimate, true sharing and connections.
Yeah. That's the general idea of the entire thing, which is I wasn't real keen on having 100-person limit because that includes presenters and performers, attendees and vendors. But I think for doing the first one, and it's going to be kind of intimate, so we will have an opportunity to pull off, I think, that type of experience uh, with a higher probability because there's fewer people. But the open time is, I'm MC and I walk out into the audience and say, "What's your name and what's your story?" Right? I mean, it's people getting up and saying, "I woke up and or I'm coming out today." I've had that happen. They'll come up and say, "This is my story." I mean, I've seen some incredible testimonies. It's just an atmosphere of. It's really that what we're talking about. It's the atmosphere of the mother. It's the atmosphere of the womb, and uh, all comers are taken. Nobody has to be embarrassed. Everybody is buck naked to the soul, so to speak, and we're all coming with the same intention to offer what we have to give. And like you said, everybody has something to give. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. Um, in fact, I think that's probably to some degree or another, that's what we're all going to be aligning with is to offer what we have that's unique, whether it's at a Soulogy Fest or in our family home or whatever. But yeah, so that's exactly what the whole thing is. Not to take anything away from any other conferences or anything like that, not at all. But I just always understood with Soulogy not to do anything that's been done before. And you've been a part of it. Even like when we collaborated at that um, Airbnb, when the rose ray came through the window.
Yes.
I mean, that's the kind of energy that we try to capture, even on the show like this. It's not an interview, it's a conversation, right?
Yes.
So, all right. So,
Wow.
I just want to thank you for coming in. I feel very, but I felt like this since I got this morning, like highly emotional, very serious, not serious where I can't laugh, but like very serious, very resolved, And I know it's not just me. I know that it's really, really upon us now. We're in it. We're in it now. We're in it. It's not coming. We're in it. And, it's kind of like, don't let it come to you. Take it to it to the best you can anyway. Charge the healer. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. And blessings to Morgan too. Just really, really feeling this in my heart space. Thank you.
Me too. Me too. Thank you. I love you. Tell Tim hi, and I'll be reaching out to y'all in the next few days.
Okay.
All right. I love you. Thank you, everybody. I might come on tonight and do a little remix. But if not, I'll see you